440 battles and hit legend. Hey Sass Squad, welcome back to the video. I know it's been a minute since I posted any GBL content here on this channel, but I did want to stay private about this experiment I was completing mid-season. I wanted to play from the perspective of someone who was not creating content, did not have a lot of time, and they just wanted to hit legend to get the pose and the Libra Pikachu. While this video will focus on battles that I had, I will have a separate video coming out later this week on this subject matter as well. So be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss that video. And if that video happens to be live right now, there should be some type of annotation that pops up here on desktop, or you can go into the description below for mobile users. I will also have timestamps available below. How I hit legend in 440 battles. In my opinion, there's two ways to play GBL. For fun or to win. Fun being you find your own way to enjoy the formats, and to win being you recognize patterns in the current meta and try to exploit them. Anyone familiar with my content knows I like to run spice and create challenges for myself. By playing every format and experimenting, I've been able to hit legend in my own ways. You probably saw the thumbnail and you might be asking yourself, but this is not spice. This is a meta line. And yes, this time, I just wanted to win. Let's start from the beginning. I started off the season doing 45 of the typical Spice Sass battles. Yeah, I still have one more battle. What the The state of the game originally had me convinced that I was not going to return this season. After taking most of the season off though, one night during the end of the first half, I was talking to my buddy Grumwich and asked him what the current meta was looking like for Great League. Grumwich suggested a few core examples with basic instructions, and I was on my way. Missing battles and seeing Great League was back in rotation, I tried to start pushing with the meta! My original plan was to try to play catch up. I was at rank 7 and I just wanted to get as many wins as fast as possible so I can get an ELO ASAP. But as I was skeptical at first, betraying my own personal code, I kept racking up 5-0 after 5-0, even going on a 17 win streak. For once, I was wielding the power of a core that made me feel tremendous shame for how easy it was to play, because it's not my typical play style. But I was in no way feeling bad about what I was doing because I just wanted to win, and in this team was really doing the job. In fact, I never changed my team once, battle 46 onward. I never changed format either. In my opinion, this is one of the key factors that led to me hitting legend so fast. If something is working, why chance it on something else that might not? ABB. This is extremely popular format for team building in Great League. The idea is to trick your opponent into thinking that they have eliminated a threat on your team while you're also baiting out a threat on their team, only for them to realize that you have two of a similar type Pokemon that can achieve a goal offensively and defensively the same. Here we have Grass, Steel, Steel. You might recognize this team, Venusaur, Bastiodon, Stunfisk, and in my opinion, was the center of a lot of meta shifting this season as well. I kept thinking, this team is so obvious. It's so obvious. But I think my win rate really says it all. It really didn't matter if someone hard countered me because they would struggle with other aspects of the meta. So I just never made an adjustment. I just stuck with the whole same meta line. I'll admit I was shocked to climb so far and fast without making any changes. But that's pretty much a huge part of it as well. For me, it became easier to understand what my opponents were trying to do based on leads. And in most scenarios, I would save swap to Stunfisk if I lost the lead. While this team is solid in its own right, it still requires understanding of energy management and team predicting to work effectively. Because it took time to understand one format and essentially master it, I was always in the zone when I was pushing, and any team that straight up wrecked me did not deter my efforts on using a team I was already comfortable with. At the end of the day, GBL is a random matchmaking system. Consistency is king. Your best approach to winning in that format is either strong meta core tied with team reading and understanding of mechanics, or essentially running exclusive Pokemon, or spicy Pokemon that some might not have enough knowledge of the moveset or the counts. Essentially shock value. I've always been an advocate of consistency, and if you can identify trends in GBL, you'll be on your way to having an idea what you should be doing for yourself. Remember, I only played Open Great League this season. No Ultra League, no Master League, no Remix, no Retro. Same team, same format, rank 7 to Legend, in 440 battles. The realization here is, with the current state of GBL, most could play less and perform better. More about the GBL rotation in an upcoming video. So to end this video, I have some battles throughout the journey that I'd like to commentate over, showing some different battle scenarios. Right, so these are earlier on, but my opponent is leading Shadow Abomasnow, so I'm going to insta-swap to Stunfisk here and try to get a Rock Slide off. A lot of times they will switch out Abomasnow, just get a little bit energy gain switch, and that's exactly what they do here. That was a really nicely timed switch on their end. But what I'm going to do is, whenever Azu switches in this scenario, I never bait. I just try to throw Earthquakes, and I also do not like shielding. I've noticed, like, if I got hit by Hydro, I would just try to get energy advantage with Venusaur, which can still be effective against Abomasnow. But I've noticed a lot of times they are just baiting shields, which we can easily take an Ice Beam, and fortunately for us, they just let it go. So now we have switch advantage. And we do have since we have switch advantage, we're just gonna bring Bastiodon in against Abomasnow, and we don't really have the shield here. Even Energy Ball isn't too threatening at this point. We're still trying to scope out what they have, and they end up having a Galvantula in the back line, so what I figured here was, I'm gonna stay in, and I don't want to get hit by a Discharge particularly, so I did shield, and it was a lunge. So I decided I was gonna switch out and just essentially sacrifice my Venusaur, because all we really need to do is line up Bastiodon with that Abomasnow. The main issue that could arise here is if the Abomasnow is able to manage to bait correctly here. Because I feel as if they have the potential to, if they just threw Energy Ball here, for example, I'm pretty sure that would have been game. But they were definitely hoping that I would fear that and shield the first move. And I think they had a chance to still bring that out, because I feel I was a little sloppy with the Bastiodon situation, like against the Galvantula. I think I should have just switched out immediately there. But anyways, we do have a Talonflame lead here, so I'm going to switch again to Stunfisk, try to get a Rock Slide off right away. And this Talonflame does stay in, so fortunately for us we do get one shield, and because I'm not sure what they're going to switch in here, I didn't really want to allow it to farm down too much. And they actually do have a Swampert. I was scared of a Fighter, so I wasn't able to get off the EQ there, which would have been really nice. So I'm just going to bring in Venusaur and try my best here to just, I think I just try to go for a straight farm down here, which is a little difficult because it already has some energy, and fortunately for us we're able to knock out the Swampert before we have to commit any shields against it. And our opponent is going to bring back in the Talonflame. I'm going to insta-swap to Bastiodon here, and they do actually have a Galarian Stunfisk here in the backline, which does make this really scary because Stunfisk's energy gain is insane, and there's no reason that Stunfisk needs to bait here. I mean, honestly, a bait move would just be devastating if I shield a Rock Slide, but the way Stunfisk gains energy, it really can just go straight EQs for the most part. And I think I shield here, trying to get off. Oh, okay. So, okay, I shield there because I was close to the Flamethrower, but fortunately for me, I had so much energy on my Venusaur, I'm able to switch in on time, kill the Stunfisk, and I don't even need to use the Bastiodon to finish off Talonflame here, because I have enough energy for Sludge Bomb. So that was just kind of a nice comeback in general. Alrighty. So in this next battle, this is a very common situation too, is Venusaur versus Stunfisk lead. So generally, Stunfisk, you don't want to get hit by an Earthquake, or it's just not a good situation for you. So ideally, you want to take one Rock Slide and shield everything else if you're going to stay in here. Or if you can somehow manage to predict the Rock Slide and switch in your own Stunfisk, that sometimes can really pay off as well. So in this situation, they actually do the switch before me and bring in Superior, and I try to get a little bit of extra energy with Venusaur, and I was expecting an Aerial Ace. And fortunately for me, I was able to safe switch to Bastiodon here. And the main reason why I picked Bastiodon as the switch in is because knowing that they have Stunfisk on their team as well, I didn't really feel Bastiodon was going to be the strongest contender for late game. And also, smackdown damage is going to rack up a lot faster than running Stunfisk in there. So in comes the Stunfisk, and we're just gonna let Bastiodon die. They knew that they couldn't let my Flamethrower get off, or they're gonna be in a worse situation. So I come back in with my Venusaur with energies loaded, I throw my Frenzy Plant and Pelipper in the back line, and honestly, this was pretty scary to me, because Pelipper can be really insanely good with energy lead. So I come in, I throw a Rock Slide, I'm able to get... Oh, okay, they don't shield that one, they take the first one, which, you know, same difference, right? I am gonna get the shield this time, and this is the thing. I decide, I think it's more important that I just let my Stunfisk die here, and that was the right play, because even if they had two Weather Balls there, I would have still been able to come out on top. Alright, so in this match, this is another common situation, Medicham lead. So our opponent is actually going to directly switch to their Galarian Stunfisk, and I'm going to try to take this as a moment of... okay, so this is an interesting battle, I think. I knew that I needed my Venusaur for Medicham, and I thought that was going to be a terrible switch on my end because it just felt like I prematurely switched, but they were using Rock Slide. That's kind of crazy. So that's one thing that you can try to do with these type of teams, is like waste your opponent's energy by making timely switches. Sometimes just doing that will safely put you in, have the momentum, you know, will help you gain momentum, excuse me. So as you can tell here, this is actually a power up punch variant, and I already got both shields. I'm in a really good situation here. I got really lucky, I feel. I mean, the opponent just ends up quitting here. Alright, so in this battle, we actually get kind of like a neutral lead. And it's always tough to know if this is the right play or not. Generally, I try to get off some energy and switch to Stunfisk or Bastiodon to take the foul play. And our opponent does a great job here at just switching and not wasting any of their energy. So, like I said earlier, I generally do not like to bait... I mean, I do not like to shield on Azumarill, and as you can see, they are actually going to throw an Ice Beam. So I am going to go straight EQ here, and at this point, I'm assuming they're just going to dump another Ice Beam, and that is exactly what happens. And right before I die to the bubble, I'm going to be able to get off a Rock Slide here, which is either going to kill them or they're going to shield, and in my opinion, those are both good. So I'm going to farm down, and we were able to farm down there before they can launch another move. And in comes their Alolan Ninetales. So I'm just going to throw a Sludge Bomb here because I knew we would get a shield. And then I'm going to bring in Bastiodon, knowing that pretty much the rest of this match is over. Like, there's virtually nothing they can do here at this point when I have two shields. I don't have to shield any of these moves, and I'll have enough to pretty much win. Alright, so in this battle, I just kind of want to show you how them running Spice did actually work out in their favor here. So, at the beginning of the match, I was thinking, they're definitely throwing Psycho Boost here, I want a shield, and in my opinion, I always feel like if they're going to do that and they switch out, that already creates a scenario where I have switch advantage. So, I decided I was going to throw one Frenzy Plant before switching in Bastiodon, and generally Bastiodon can tank most of Hypno's moves aside Focus Blast, which, if you're guessing, yes, they do have Focus Blast. So by me not shielding that move, it ends up creating a more difficult scenario for us. And I bring in the Stunfisk, and I guess our opponent just didn't want to risk getting outpaced, so they just let it go down. They bring back in their Deoxys defense, and I'm going to throw EQ. They will actually shield this. And crazy enough, I didn't really know what they were running in the back line. I was kind of scared they might have some sort of flyer, and sure enough, it's actually the Alolan Ninetales. So I'm able to get off a Sludge Bomb, and I'm trying to farm down here because I know I need to get off a Frenzy on that Deoxys, and they're able to Weather Ball me. I know that I don't have enough damage here unless I throw EQ on Deoxys defense, so I'm going for the farm down, and there you go. I lose this battle because of that. Honestly, it's hard for me to think that that team that they were running works as well against other meta teams. So while that worked in most scenarios, I don't think Focus Blast is going to benefit you over Shadow Ball. Alright, so I wanted to show this battle because it's kind of interesting for the late game. So we have a Mew, which generally runs Surf, Wild Charge. I've only seen one running Psyshock the entire time I've been playing, though I generally do not shield a Mew. And I'm going to try to get off a Frenzy Plant after getting a little bit of extra energy, just to make sure they weren't going to switch on the Frenzy. But you'll see here, our opponent is going to throw Wild Charge, and I make the mistake of throwing my Frenzy Plant right after. I should have known better that they were going to try to switch out and absorb my move, and Skarmory is the perfect safe swap for them. Unfortunately for them though, I am going to bring in my Bastiodon, so you'll see a little bit later why them doing that switch really does make this match a lot harder for us to pull off. So at this point I'm feeling pretty good. We don't really need to throw energy, we're just going to farm Skarmory. Nothing Skarmory can do to Bastiodon is really that threatening. So we have a lot of energy. In comes a Scrafty though. So unfortunately I didn't have any real good footage of a flyer into a fighter safe switch. That's a very common way to beat this team, and honestly it really does come down to the third pick, if you can manage to bring it back or not. But in this match, this is a nightmare. So I'm going to switch to my Venusaur, and keep in mind, I could have had already one Frenzy loaded here. So I could have already thrown a Frenzy on that Scrafty potentially, or even at this Mew, and the Mew would have been gone, and I would have been just barely had a little bit of health. But I think at that point I could have just brought in Stunfisk safely, knowing that they had no shield, and been able to get off Earthquake. But as you'll see here, this really does come down to the wire. This is the thing, like, you'll double fighter, a lot of counter users were extremely popular in the higher elo range for sure, and it makes sense. But yeah, as you can see, this is just a nightmare, and I was trying to get up 2 Rock Slides because I didn't want to let them slip in a fast attack on me, but I ended up dying before I could throw any energy, and thankfully Bastiodon was actually able to kill the Scrafty. Final thoughts. So I'm sure some of you are wondering if I've enjoyed hitting Legend more this season than past seasons, and quite honestly I'm conflicted. While it was nice being able to hit Legend in less battles and even hit higher gains, I did not feel like I truly had any identity in this game. On the contrary as well, since Pogo has never truly been in a perfect state, playing multiple different formats with changing metas and running Spice can ultimately lead to a stagnating elo. I think at the end of the day, you will have to decide for yourself how you want to play this game. Are you someone that prefers to run Spice or meta when you run GBL? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out this video. The Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. Be sure to like and subscribe. I will be posting a video talking about the current GBL rotation. So if you are interested in some content like that, it will be coming out later this week. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.